All right, welcome to Smokey Reacts. I'm your boy journalist, and on this one, we are back for another one to check out from the Conscious Lee. This one is going to be Black conservative TikTokers doing the most white supremacist sympathy. That's a tongue twister. Jesus, Black conservative TikTokers doing the most white supremacist sympathy. All right. Yeah, that's a crazy title. But yeah, let's see what's going on with these folks over here. See just kind of how my boy deconstructs these arguments. It's something I quite enjoy sometimes. So thank you to anybody that joins me on these. If you could please hit that like, subscribe, Patreon's in the description, and let's get into it.
Whiteness is a cult, and they will always come to the defense of their cult members.
Right. White people are the ones who are wearing t-shirts about how proud they are about their race. White people are the ones rallying in the streets about their race. White people are the ones race-swapping characters even though it's completely historically inaccurate. White people are the ones getting their own categories on Uber Eats, Hulu, and Netflix. And of course it was in the name of white people that we got over $2 billion in damages here in the United States due to the riots that happened in 2020. Not to mention the 20 plus people who died in the mostly peaceful protests. All that, and when you're a white person who tries to talk about it and call them out and say that they're engaged in groupthink and suppressing skepticism, they tell you you're not a white person anymore. That lady's right. Whiteness is the cult.
So we don't think that the Stop Woke Act and the whole Go Woke, Go Broke is not engaging in groupthink, suppressing skepticism? Are there not cult members that wear t-shirts about their racial heritage not being hate with Confederate flags? PragerU shirts.
At least on this point, you got university degrees that lasted longer than the motherfucking the South's Confederate in that particular like situation down there. Like, I just don't really get it. Like, how people are like, this is my heritage. I'm like, so your heritage is less than like a 4-year uni degree from a standard college in the United States. Like, just 4 years is what you're gonna say your entire heritage is, not like where you come from before those 4 years. Like, this is why, like, when a lot of white people from America, specifically the South for me, do the whole like, oh well, like my grandfather had a farm and yada yada yada, and like, oh well, like this is just like, but where did you come from before that? Like, that's not just all your heritage. And if your only heritage identity or cultural identity is attached to this one event that happened one time for this one particular era of your family's lineage, I don't think that's a good heritage I would like to associate myself with. Like, if my own lineage had a bad thing attached to it, I'm not gonna make that my entire existence and then be like, yeah, let me die on this molehill. Like, that's just stupid. It's stupid.
It's about their racial heritage not being hate with Confederate flags. PragerU University, Go Woke, Go Broke. Don't you work for the cult known as PragerU? And then why she bring up race swapping? Gods of Egypt. This movie came out in 2016.
Fuck that. Prince of Persia. Even though it's, hey, just shout out my nigga Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a good movie though. It's a great video game. But still, unless we're gonna put some Macedonian bird to play Cleopatra, both sides of this argument have fucked it. White folks, black folks, everybody's just putting somebody in there that they just want. Go give me a bird from Macedonia. I know she looked good. Go give me that. Then we could stop talking about race swapping. Until then, I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it.
And I don't remember hearing no conservative chaos about there being race swapping. And what she say about Uber Eats and black business owners? The racial gap of business ownership explained in 4 charts. Education is elevation. Don't take my word for it. You can read the article. Perhaps this is why Donald Trump tried to give the Platinum Plus plan to give, what is it, $500 billion to black people? Facts over feelings. 93% of those peaceful protests that you call riots did not equate to no violence. But of course, the PragerU cult got you on the payroll. So, you got to make these type of claims. And what she say about particular people taking the streets? In January 6th, this don't exist. And she's actually responded in defense of the cult of white kinship. You see what I'm saying? But listen, they act more outraged over Target and CVS than $2.73 million damage at the nation's capital.
Fuck, I got this one song because like I don't typically make content that covers these particular things. I don't also in my own music make a lot of like, we'll say, like racially focused music. I would say like a Talib Kweli or like a Yasin Bey. Like, I don't really always speak of like black consciousness on my records all the time. But like sometimes when I do it, I'll like make these certain songs. So I made this one song called Kings and Queens, and one of the lines was talking about like how like when these situations happen, how like the media will criminalize like the person who has done the thing, and then like white conservatives or like conservatives of all sorts then want to tell me about like how CVS and Whole Foods are like the places that like, oh, they're losing money, look at how these people are tearing these places down and burning them down. And I'm just like, but that's in response to something, and your response to somebody being like either murdered or done unjustly is the bottom line of a business's losses. Like, how are you gonna try and like speak virtues to me if we are discussing capitalistic bottom lines when the whole reason that that bottom line is being affected is due to an injustice? Like, it's crazy to me. Like, you guys want to talk about how you're gonna burn down Whole Foods, but then want to turn around and try and chat to me virtues. Like, that's not how this works. Like, you're not even starting the conversation from a relevant point.
Come on now.
Being on time is white supremacy because what are they always on time to do? Oppress.
It's funny though.
Y'all gotta be smoking dollar store dog food. Being on time is white supremacy. For the last time, we're not oppressed. White people are not oppressing black people. You gotta get that shit out of your head. You have to. Because if we're talking that shit, people of color are oppressing white people. I have a million examples. Disney's just one of them. This is why I'm on this app, y'all. This type of video is why I'm on this app. It makes no sense. You're not oppressed, okay? If you are feeling oppressed, you're doing it to yourself. This victim mentality has to go, man. It really does have to go. Because like I said in plenty of my videos, I've been black for 32 years on this earth, and I have yet to be oppressed by a white person. Leave white people alone. At this point, you're just coming up with bullshit to fuck with them. You couldn't pay me to say no stupid shit like that on the internet.
Leave white people alone. I'm 32 years old too, you know? But let's get into the facts first. The colonization of time is a highly original and long overdue examination of the ways that Western European and specifically British concepts and rituals of time were imposed on other cultures as a fundamental component of colonization during the 19th century. And this is the part that's funny. We not oppressed until it's time to start talking about the 1992 crime bill or the Democratic plantation, all right? Anyways, the book is called The Colonization of Time. It explores the ritual routine and resistance to the British Empire, which literally illustrates white supremacy. And then what he say about Disney? Don't get too lost in the sauce about partisanship politics that you forget that Disney is owned by white people that commodifies and continues to monetize multicultural sentiments, what I meant to say. Back to this book though, because you know, education is elevation. All those intrigued by the concept of time will find this book of interest, for it illustrates how Western European time rises to the position of global dominance. From the clock to the 7-day-a-week is one of the most pervasive, enduring, and taken for granted legacies of colonization in today's world. Education is elevation, and tell that dude to go pick up a book and take that coon hat off. Literally.
Oh, god damn it, my brother. It's not a coon hat. I can't remember what's it called. I remember I was in LA with fucking the people that like came up with that shit. There was just like some rave. So it was like, it's called a spirit animal or some shit like that. And they were about to fucking hit the market. And I was just like, I guess. But like I could see like white girls and people that like to do raves or like your eat individuals, they're for sure gonna eat those up. But like, yeah. Nah. Also, the one point I feel like my boy didn't get to was the whole like oppression thing. Like, oppression is not just directly from like one white person to another. Like, the upholding of oppressive systems or adherence to systems or structures that have been built to oppress people or to other or separate or mitigate or stop people's advancements are still around, and they are still inhabited by predominantly white folks for the most part, or black folks like that guy who speaks the way that he speaks, because it's not always that it's an individual one white person oppressing another black person or person of color or just somebody that is other. It's the system that they're trying to attempt to participate in is built to exclude them already, and once you're in the inside of those systems, you actively keep participating in the exclusion of these people. Like, to act like these things don't happen and then get on the internet and then be like, yeah, like, I can't believe this is stupid, can't believe people are saying this, or this victim mentality. It's like, it's not even a victim mentality, it's like, it's just the facts of life. Like, I'm just being honest about what I see and how things operate. Like, why are you being like intellectually dishonest in the conversation just so you can have like a point? Like, that's the part of these all these conversations or things that I discuss that I don't seem to like is I'm not making a point to then act like your point doesn't exist to then be able to invalidate that point that you have. So I don't understand why everybody seems to always want to try and have an argument from the point of, well, your argument doesn't exist, and because now I have an argument I can present that will invalidate that argument that you fucking have, now makes it like a sound argument. I'm like, that's not how this works. That's not even how like you have a proper discussion.
You wearing a cool hat, bro. Like, come on, man. You playing.
As president, I recognize that the woke mind virus represents a war on the truth, so we will wage a war on the woke. We will fight the woke in education. We will fight the woke in the corporations. We will fight the woke in the halls of Congress. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. We will make woke ideology, leave it to the dustbin of history. It's gone.
I just like to point out that the only reason woke has become so popular is due to the subversion of African American vernacular and culture, and white people wanting to use this term in the way that they thought it was meant to be used, and then just bastardized it in euphemism all the way down to the way now that he's speaking about it, woke mind virus. Like, they create their own boogeyman so much in the conservative party that it's just ridiculous to me. And also, I'm not a conservative, Republican, Democrat, fucking centrist, none of that shit. I want the fucking job done right. So I don't even give a fuck if I hate the cunt that has the job and his political affiliations. The motherfucker that has the job, if they do the job right, that's all the fuck I care about. So all these people on both sides, left, right, center, up, down, I don't care. All these cunts are terrible because nobody just shows up and does the fucking job.
I'm proud.
This man is running a presidential campaign off of stopping the woke. I mean, what in the victim mentality is going on here? If y'all ever want to understand how masterful it is to create an enemy that doesn't exist, so you can try to rally your constituents to try to go at the enemy and literally say the enemy is anything. Hey, woke is being gay. Woke is talking about black stuff. Woke is being communist. Woke is being socialist. Woke is anything that's not white, damn near, if you want to say it, right? Woke is the young people doing wah, wah, wah. Hey, man, the way that black things get co-opted, it's so crazy, right? Marcus Garvey in 1920 was not talking about the LGBT community. He was not talking about whatever the hell conservatives think they was talking about. When he said, say, wake up, Ethiopia, wake up, Africa, he was talking about having a certain mind of consciousness and understanding about who you are and how you position in this world. You see what I'm saying? All of a sudden, that has become dangerous. I'm not gonna say all of a sudden, because Massa never wanted us to know who he was and how he's positioned. That's the reason why they outlawed us being able to read. And you see right here, there's a new consciousness going on where we want to read, and look what they're doing. Attacking education and making it where you cannot read about the knowledge of self and or black history in the classroom. See what I'm saying? Hey, they're going to talk about victim mentality, but victim mentality allowed for policies to be built because they believed that there was a potential for white kids to be attacked. It don't get no better than that. Education is elevation, and Ron DeSantis, you doing the devil's work, man. You're doing a good job, too. Congratulations. It's simple. Most Americans want the same thing. A life where they can be who they are, have enough money to have a home, afford life's basic needs, a little left over for a vacation every once in a while, and the ability to retire comfortably. Meanwhile, most Americans ain't getting none of that. We all getting tricked out and pimped out on how innovative capitalism is. Meanwhile, the CEO is experiencing record high profits and we ain't getting nothing. If you work hard, stick to your grind, give all your spare times to your employer, you would not be a millionaire. You would just be a clown for capitalism. Billionaires ain't there as a result of working hard. They there because they mastered how to exploit and take advantage while giving the least while taking the most. Church, education is elevation. All the outrage behind Cleopatra's race in this new movie on Netflix is very telling. Gods of Egypt came out in 2016 with these two dudes, and I don't remember nobody being pissed off about historical accuracy. And before I go any further in this video, let's be clear. consciously believes it is preposterous to use modern day racial constructs of identity to try to understand how identity worked in ancient Africa. Don't do that. Because Cleopatra was probably racially ambiguous just like Amber Rose, if we're keeping it real. And conservatives worried about historical accuracy. Hey, listen, if Jesus existed, we know he ain't look like this. Somehow, blackwashing and Afrocentric ideas are under attack in Egypt, huh? It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. And for the modern day Egyptians trying to play these games, not all, but the ones trying to play these games, we can acknowledge the ancient Egyptians was not of Greek descent or of Arab descent. So stop playing them games for real. Either way it go, modern day settlers get to control the narrative today, right?
It's like they say, history is written by the victors. So that's pretty much what's gonna happen. But it's very true. The Egyptians of back in the day were not of Arab or fucking Greek descent or fucking European descent. They were of African descent. And then obviously the confluence of fucking the Arab slave trade and then actually just the Arab trade and then just the interaction of these regions and all these other empires definitely has caused some racial dynamic overlap and then some definite changeovers. But that again requires a nuanced discussion and understanding of these times that most people aren't even willing to spend the time to understand. Like it just becomes a dead argument after a while. But yeah, this was a good one to check out. Thank you again to Consciously for putting this together. It was good to check it out because I'm not even like, I got a TikTok. I don't even be on there. Like I can't be bothered. Like it just, I don't even care if I make music. Like it's long. It's long. And I'm not willing to do like crazy content that is just like outside of what I would normally do. I'm not about to just do it just so I could be like, oh, I'm going viral on TikTok. I give two fucks. But yeah, thanks you to anybody who watches this with me. If you could, please hit that like, subscribe, Patreon's in the description. See you on the next one. I'm out of here. Peace.